It is a bit cold, and it looks like we are getting started here. It looks like we're going to be going live here in just a few minutes. I'm going to wait for Coach Jim to come on. I'm going to pull up the proverb of the day, and I'm going to get fired up, get excited here for the next 45 minutes. Actually, you need to get excited and fired up for the entire day, not just 45 minutes. Guests, soldiers in the making, community members. Let's get ready. This is your hour of power. This is a place where you can come and challenge me and challenge yourself and find a solution, find an answer, find a step forward, find an energy. This is your hour of power. So get in, turn down your distractions, please. Please. Let me find the proverb in a moment here. Did you bring a pen? Man, we've got some great things going on here. Listen, if this is a live interactive podcast, number 110, I believe. Coach Jim is going to be here with us. I hope. Hopefully you'll challenge me. Let's come here. Let's take advantage of this time. We got a TED Talk. We got a wonderful speaker. I believe his name is Jeremy. We're going to invite Jeremy into our presence, into our environment, into our influence, into our minds. And we're going to stop along the way. I'll answer your question. If you put a question in the chat, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, TikTok. I'm not sure where we're going with all this. If you put a question, by the way, I'm Coach Santos out of Stockton, California, founder, the world's #1 problem gambling interventionist. My friend, gambling is a lie. The trauma that comes along with it is not a lie. But if you keep doing that thing that's a lie, it's going to turn your life into a French fry. Give you a heart attack someday. You may die. No, I eat French fries too. But on a serious note, let's take some notes. Let's invite a friend, bring a pen, get ready to take some POIs, and we'll talk about this here in the broadcast. So I see Jim. I see Jim there. Welcome, Jim. Let me see what's going on with our music here in the background. A little bit of. So I welcome you. Once again, welcome you from around the world on an international basis in the United States. This is your hour. Hey, you can do what you want right here, or you can just stop right in and shoot off at 90 miles an hour if you want. But you're going to get something good out of this broadcast tonight. We are going to get something good. We are going to rise. We are going to increase our faith. I send you belief. I send you belief because recovery can be made easier if you want it. If you want it, if you don't want it, you're not going to last here, my friend. Partner, you're not. You're going to come and go. This is boring to you, what we're talking about here. Not to me, because I'm all about PNGZ. PNGZ. What does that stand for, Santos? What stands for? Probably. No, it stands for permanent no gambling zone. Right down to the bone. I'm not no clone. I ain't no drone. This is all known and shown. All right. I'm getting a little bit excited ahead of myself here. Let me turn down the music. I think Jim is on board. Now, mind you, I'm monitoring a lot of things here and I'm by myself. I don't have a moderator yet. I don't have a support monitor yet. We're working on it. You see. All right. So your solution. All right. Let me get back to this here. Let me get back. Hold on. Just come on. Don't break my ribs here. Can you smell what the rock is cooking? Don't bust my chops. All right. Here we go. So welcome from around the world. Coach Jim is in the text. I saw him. And we are live. Let me get to the proverb. I'm going to get to the proverb real quick before Jim jumps on board. And Jim never takes off by himself, but he's a driver. Okay. He's a driver. Okay. StreamYard. So I don't see Jim on board, but I do see him. Hi, Laura. Out of time. I see Jim there. Good evening. It's time. Jim, if you want to come on board, did I put down? There it is right there. I did put the information there. Ask and you shall receive. Got camera. So welcome. And, again, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, wherever you are, listen, this is not just about gambling, folks. This is an hour of power for you to just, man, let's just take some time for ourselves and figure out where we need to go. Where do you need to go? All right, proverb for the day before I get into this broadcast. And believe me, the story of the rise of, it's actually not Jeremy, it's Justyn, the rise and fall of a gambling addict. Stay with me. You're going to get something very good out of this broadcast. Hopefully, you guys can hear me very well. And I hope Laura's Mark, shows up because I got a little rap video for him. I'm going to do my best to see if I can share it with you guys. It's just a little rap, 30-second rap there, just to break up the monotony here on the broadcast. All right. So, Jeremiah 23:24, can any hide himself in secret places that I shall not see him? Excuse me. Can any hide himself in secret places that I shall not see him? Says the Lord. Do not I fill heaven and earth, saith the Lord. Do not I fill heaven and earth. That really assures me, it helps me, it gives me security, because I'm glad man's not in control. If man was in control, you and I probably would not be here. There would not exist a podcast 210. Hi, Jim. Can you put the StreamYard link up again? Yes, I can do that. Let me see. All right, copied. So, by the way, if you have a question, listen, folks, this is our program. It's not just about me and Jim. It's our program. If you got any vested interest in this thing of becoming free and becoming better and becoming wiser, becoming smarter, generating more income, saving more money. Do you want to save more money? Be a part of this community. Interact. We're going to be here for about, 13, 14 minutes watching this video, unless I get seriously interrupted. Jim can interact. I can interact. We can look at, you can interact. You can ask the question. Maybe you hear something, you see something from Justyn that piques your interest. We're here together. This is a community that is building. It's being built. And I'm offering you, my friend on the other side, the very best when it comes to permanent no gambling. Whether it's online, whether it's offline, whether it's on the roof somewhere, in the middle of Africa, on a phone somewhere, wherever you are. I'm here to support you and make sure that you get on the right track and stay. Uh-oh. Did we, let me see here. Okay, we got to get in here. Okay, so is everybody, hi Santos. Oh yeah, let me put the link up again here. Sorry about that. And guests, what can you expect? By the way, I hope that you're locked in, strapped in, and I hope that you're taking notes. There's POIs in this broadcast. POIs in this broadcast. And you definitely need POIs in your life. Yes, you do. If you don't have POIs, you will get lost. Like they say back in Connecticut. Quata, you'll get lost. You'll get lost. Do you want to be lost? Or do you want to be found? Do you want to stay found? Would you like to stay found? All right, let me get into this. Jim's going to come on. Let me see. Can you guys hear me okay? I believe you can, huh? Testing 1, 2, 3. Sending out energy over the airwaves. Sending out belief. Don't bag it. Don't can it. Don't box it. Don't pocket it. Put it to action. Sending belief. Testing 1, 2, 3. Can somebody hear me out there in the world? Humans? We don't have any mannequins or clones in here, do we? Or bots, right? We don't. Nah. Our game was Wild Africa. How did you know? I can read minds out of time. Sometimes I can. Sometimes you can pick up energies. You know what I mean? Sometimes when people are going through something and Sometimes you guys can even feel that I may be going through something, right? But like I say to myself every day, I'm going to make my day super fantastic, terrific, over the top, in spite of and because of. Now, I'll give you those two meanings later on, possibly. All right, let's welcome Jim on board here before we get into the broadcast. We got the proverb out of the way. I appreciate the proverb. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Lord, for that. Yeah, I'm a little bit religious. I'm not a church monger. Okay. Um, yeah. Okay. Hey, Jim, welcome.
Hi, good evening there, Santos.
Yes, let me
Good to
turn
be
you
here.
up. Can you turn yourself up or do I need to turn you up?
Uh,
I need to turn you up.
okay.
Okay. There we go. Welcome from all the way from Tucson. So we're going to look at this and feel free, Jim, if you want to stop, if you feel like you want to share something, we can stop the the broadcast. I may interject or I may just listen to Justyn here. He's coming up on a TED Talk, fellow veteran, just like myself. And let's learn something. This is not just about gambling here. This is not just about gambling. So time is going to go by very quick. I can see eyeballs are dropping. Like I said earlier, you're either looking for something, you're either looking for something or you're seeking. If you're not, this is not the platform. This is not the environment. This is for seekers. This is for people that want to generate. They want to develop. They want to elevate. That's what this place is here for. So, um, oh, Blaze Journey. There you go. Good evening. Tuned in for my hour of power. Good to see you there. Been watching your content a lot this week. Good to hear. All right, let's get into this. I've got a few distractions in the background that I need to get rid of. Jim, anything you want to share before we go to the TED Talk here?
Let's see the TED Talk. What is the TED Talk's topic? What's the main topic?
Well, we're just basically going to look at the rise and fall of a gambling addict. And again, we're here to answer questions. If anybody in the audience puts a text, I encourage them. We can stop anytime. We're not dictated by anything. This program is more feel felt, uh, feel felt. What's the,
Feel
anyways,
felt
we're,
found.
there we go. Feel felt found. The triple F. So we just kind of move as we go. We don't have anything really planned. I'm excited to be here. I want to grow. I want to expand. I've got things. We all have major challenges. Everybody does. And I don't care how much money you make. Doesn't matter how much money you make. You're challenged to the max. Even if you make a lot, you're challenged. You're challenged even more. So it's a good place. Um, anything you feel like you want to share? Because again, this is
Yeah,
really,
it just
yeah.
it's nice. I really appreciate Sunday Night Alive because it's Sunday is supposed to be the beginning of the week, but it's a time to kind of reflect about what you want to accomplish in the week coming up, right?
Mhm.
I mean, it's kind of like your little safe little island before the new week starts, and it's kind of really good to get focused, you know, on the situations that we find ourselves in right now, the challenges, and where we want to go. You know, I mean, our job is to kind of get centered, get focused here, so that our direction can be solid. You said you know life is the good life comes from a good series of good constant positive reminders, right? And yeah, that's what we have to do. Remind ourselves that we're on a journey to get better. Uh, and yeah, that's what this
Re,
program is all about.
re, re, redefine, redefine. Let me see if I can spell that. See, anyone can be a life coach. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Well, redefine and redirect. Redirect. Most people are on the wrong channel. I was talking to Sherry, my wife, about this earlier. Or maybe was it her? But we can be like a remote. And once you change that, once you believe, right, you play. It's like, again, we go back to the game. You get a remote imagination. You can change the channel, just like you sit in front of the boob tube or television, right? Most people sit in front of television on Sundays all day and they're just flipping through the channels. We can do that, figuratively speaking, imaginative speaking, bending reality, redefine, redirect your vision. Because whatever you're following, whatever you're looking at, whatever's your channel, you're following that thing like kind of like a robot, like you're hypnotized and you're just following that because that's your vision. If that's not a good vision, it's showing up in your behavior, in losses of money, broken relationships, depression, sadness, trauma. You're building trauma on yourself every single day that you're going through this. So that's the wrong vision. We must redefine. We must redirect. Let me get into this here. Jim, you want to share something else before we get into the movie, the 15-minute movie here? Oh, there's Mark. All right, Mark. Go ahead.
Yeah. Later on, I'd like to go and talk about the importance of routines. I mean, how important are routines in our life? What kind of routines do we have going on right now? Are those routines, positive, or they negative, right? Can we change our routines? Can we redirect, like you say, what we do over and over and over and over again in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, right? Can we create good routines, positive routines that will eventually take us to where we want to go? It's that grooving, right? That grooving. I mean, there's patterns in our life that got us to where we are right now. And you know, different patterns that we can go ahead and groove that will take us to somewhere else if we want to. So routines, you know,
Yeah.
can we
Belief,
reflect on?
routine.
Mhm.
Scratch the record player, the record that's playing in our minds. Who said that? Somebody said that a while back, right? Like you're speaking. We have to scratch those grooves. And unfortunately, again, it really comes down to belief. It comes down to who you associate with, your environment. And if you're being honest with yourself, you know what I mean? You got to be honest with yourself. Is this something that you really want? People that don't want to stop gambling, they're not going to hang out here in this place. They're not. They're going to be, they're going to feel judged, even though this is a no judgment zone. It's crazy. It's just the energy, man. You can't be in an environment. And I feel, we've got plans. We've got things that we're doing. We're building. I'm letting you guys know on the other side. Jim knows what's happening here. We're expanding. And who knows if this program here it'll evolve into something different. We may not have the Sunday. I invite all of you to make sure that you're soldier scribed to this mission to see where this is all going. You could be a part of something big. You could be a part of something big for yourself. You can get that mindset that will defeat. Uh, I'm not saying you're going to defeat everything in your life immediately, but once you get that mindset of victory, you will begin defeating those little skirmishes, those little battles. You'll start filling up those potholes on the road. Let me go ahead and get into this. Um, and oh,
Events are back, you guys. Events are back. They're booking speakers like you. They're paying them $5,000. On the 17th of August, 2013, 5 million people woke up and bought a copy of the Daily Mail. Some of them may have opened it up and on the inside seen a story about how an ex-army major squandered £750,000, losing his home, his job, his family, and his children. That person was me. I want to ask why. And I've asked myself that question so many times. Was there a time bomb inside me just ticking away? Was it something that happened because of the circumstances? Well, I want to share my story with you, and I'll let you decide. 3 years after that day in August, 3 years before that day in August, this photograph was taken. And I'm showing you that because I've got a horrible smug smile on my face. And just behind me is Mount Vesuvius. Can you see it there across the Bay of Naples? You see, in my head, I had a Mount Vesuvius, that volcano that erupted in AD 79, destroying Pompeii. The volcano in my head was about to erupt and catastrophically destroy my life. And my life was good. I joined the army. I spent 8.5 years there. I went to Sandhurst and was awarded the Queen's Sword of Honor for graduating top of my intake. For 2 years, I was the youngest major in the British Army. I did the All-Out Commando course. I was para-trained. I did all the fun and exciting things, and maybe there's a bit of a theme there. But I was always restless. And when someone said to me I wouldn't be promoted for another 6 years, I left the army, age 30, and I went off to seek my fortune in the city. And I left the army having led 460 men on a high-pressure operational tour to being the junior T-boy in a small insurance brokerage in Hertfordshire. But I was ambitious. And I'd stay in the office sometimes for hours after everyone else had left, and I'd get my study out, and I'd sit with my books, and I'd try and teach myself what I knew nothing about. And the managing director came over sometimes at 9 o'clock when he was leaving, and he'd say, "What are you doing?" And I'd say, "I want to get on. I want to catch up."
I can hear
2 years later, I had been promoted to one of the youngest managing directors of a division of a global financial services company working in the City of London. I had a 6-figure salary. I had nice holidays. I'd married the girl of my dreams. We drove nice cars. We had our own house together. We had a lovely son called Matthew and another one on the way. But everything was not well on the inside. A few things began to happen around about the time when I'd kind of thought I'd got everything that I could ever want in life. I had a 6-hour commute. We'd moved up to Derbyshire. I traveled 3 hours down to London and 3 hours back every day, 5 days a week. But I thought that was okay because I was making money, and I felt that that was important in life. But I'd been passed over for a promotion, and I remember thinking how angry I felt at that. So I'd reached a plateau at work. Something else happened. Our lovely son, Matthew, he's the eldest one there. At 11 months old, I noticed he wasn't really using his right hand at all. And I said to my wife, Emma, don't you think it's odd he doesn't use his right hand? She said, oh no, we've got left-handed people in our family. He'll just be left-handed. And then I heard a radio interview about someone who'd noticed that their daughter, age 11 months, didn't use her right hand. They'd taken her and got a diagnosis. So that's what we did with Matthew. We took him to see a consultant. And within a few minutes, the consultant said, I believe your son has right side hemiplegia. He's got stiffness all down his right side and in his right arm. And he's got no dexterity in his hands. We had a scan, and I walked into the consultant's office and saw a picture of my son's brain with a great big scar on it. I said, what does this mean? She said, your son has a form of cerebral palsy. He had a stroke when he was born, a bleed into his brain, and he'll always have limited movement down his right side. And as we got up to leave, she said, oh, by the way, I think maybe he's going to be susceptible to epilepsy. Just 1 week later, I was at home, it was a hot day, Matthew was in my arms, and his right arm started to jerk. I knew immediately what was happening. I just didn't know what to do. I did everything wrong. I should have just loosened off his clothing and let him come out of the fit. It took 40 minutes for the ambulance to arrive, and by then Matthew had turned blue. His lips were a dark shade of purple. I was breathing for my son, giving him mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. The ambulance came, took Matthew away, and that was fine. He was okay, but I wasn't. I was completely knocked for six. I totally went into denial, and I handled it really badly. Just 1 week later, I was at home doing something I'd done 1,000 times before. I was watching a game of rugby. But this time, for the first time, I noticed one of those adverts for a £5 free bet. 18% of every advert on TV is gambling related now. And for the first time, I saw it. I got my laptop and put the £5 on I needed for my free bet. And I won. And I've asked myself so many times, what would have happened if I'd lost that bet? I'm pretty sure I'd have closed my laptop down. What a waste of time. but I didn't. And you know what? I didn't tell my wife when she came home. There was something not quite right about it. I began to be engaged. I began to watch sport a bit more. I began to read the papers, try and understand it. And at first I stuck to the things I knew, just small bets. I even worked from home and told my boss I'd just come into the office one day a week, and then bored.
What's happening to this army man? I've watched this video numerous times, and every time that I watch it, I get more out of it, even though I don't gamble. But I can tell you, the gambling illusion is very, very powerful. It is very It will draw you. It has an effect that is basically it's the hypnotizing effect. We're going to listen to a little bit more, but I just wanted to stop here and see if there's any questions. If you haven't seen, or if you haven't not heard Justyn Rees, if you haven't seen this TED Talk, if I don't know if you're watching it here with us, I recommend that you watch and listen to his story. It's about 16, 17 minutes long. Listen to what happens at the end. It's a very sad story, but it's a true one. At least from what I hear this man speaking, I don't know why somebody would stand on a stage and speak things that he's declaring, except for them possibly being true, and he wants recovery in his life. So he's heading down the wrong path, folks. We're beginning to see some cracks in this man's armor. I know Jim's keeping an eye. he's probably thinking, what does Santos drag me into this thing today here? Again, it's, these little programs like this might seem to be boring, but when you take an hour to really reflect on your life, I mean, like Jim said earlier, how much of the day today did you reflect on yourself? I sat this morning in a dark room for probably about 15, 20 minutes. Something I typically do. I'll sit in a dark room and I'll ask myself questions. Yeah, I'm crazy like that. But it works because I seem to get answers now more than I used to. Before it would take a while for me to sit in a room and answer questions. It would take a while for those answers. Now I get them more fast. In fact, sometimes they come so fast I got to write it down or else I lose the thought. But then it may come back later on. Anyhow, Jim, anything you want to share here? I don't see any questions. Yeah. Everybody must be good.
Yeah, so I see this guy. I'm going to move my headphones a little bit because I'm getting a lot of feedback. Okay, so I noticed that this guy really wants to be in control. He's talked about being in the military, handling all these soldiers under his watch. Didn't like the fact that he was not going to be promoted, until 6 years. So, I mean, he, went into the private sector, start at the bottom and worked really hard on, controlling his life. And when his son, I guess came down with that, that's something that was out of his control. That problem with his son, that brain scar.
Yeah.
And his son got sick and, had that epileptic deal. He didn't know what to do, and that's a frightening thing, when we feel out of control, it's frightening. It's scary. Fear comes in, anger comes in, those awful emotions, right? I mean, been there, done that, when we're not in control. And how, and think about all the ways we try to control our lives, right? We can use anger to control others, we could use, fear, running away, running away from the situation, hiding, not going to the event or talking to the people. I'm controlling that situation. I'm not going to be putting myself in that position. I want to be in control of my feelings. I want to feel good. I'm going to go to my addictions. I'm going to go to that casino. I'm going to go to my bottle. I'm going to go to my McDonald's and stuff my face. I'm gonna control my feelings. I'm gonna feel good. And when we feel out of control, man, I think that's when the problems happen.
Yeah, exactly. And we're going to get back here. We're going to get back and then possibly take another look at what Jim is sharing. Also, we'll get back to that. But if you have any questions, please ask in the comments. We'll interrupt the video to get to your question, do the best that we can to help you find your solution. You guys are all looking for solutions. Everybody in here is looking for something. Everybody in here is looking for something. Some of us are so embarrassed we won't even ask. We're all looking for something. I hope you find it, and I hope you find it soon. I'm glad you're here. I appreciate you. And I'm going to do my very best. Jim and we're going to do our very best to provide a support system for you. I hope that you'll support this mission too. We've got a lot of things that we're working on. So keep the number 23 in mind, please. If you decide to donate financially, keep that number 23 in mind.
Wouldn't hit me because I'd finish my work in the morning and the rest of the day would stretch out.
Oh,
it's
sorry about that.
wild.
We're going to get a few of them probably.
I began to withdraw as a husband as I gambled more. I began to withdraw as a dad. And then one day I worked out I was losing more often than I was winning. That made me cross because I'm a bad loser, but I'm competitive. I'm also very optimistic. I'm expecting to win. So I took £1,000. £1,000, I'd never bet anything like that much money before. And I placed it on the outcome of a tennis match, thinking if I won, I'd win all my money back that I'd lost, and then it would be okay. I lost that bet. The first thing I did is phone my bank. I got an overdraft for another £1,000. I lost those two bets, and now there was a hole in our finances. Emma trusted me completely with our money. But rather than talk about it, tell her, or change our habits slightly, just tighten our belts on the budget, I carried on living like we always lived, spending. I didn't want people to know about my habit. I didn't want a difficult conversation. I felt ashamed. I felt guilty about what I was doing. And now, to catch up this hole, I began to bet more and more frequently. I began to spend more time. I began to spend more money. Emma thought it was her. She thought it was my job, or the fact we lived in a town, and she knew how much I loved the countryside. So,
Laura, I have 3 question marks. Winning at a casino is not good, but why? Well, I never won. I thought I did. Again, going back to what Jim said earlier, you got to ask yourself the reason. What is the purpose? Going to a casino can be fun. It can be rewarding. You can make a lot of money in a casino. I don't know. Didn't happen for me. 32 years, I thought I was going to become a millionaire. After 32 years, I didn't win $1 million. You would think after 10 years, you might quit, right? 10, 15 years, you're trying for that $1 million. You still didn't get it. 20 years. Now you're 30 years into this thing. Well, I finally got it. The problem is that some people can't handle a lot of money. And if you can't handle a lot of money, it can destroy you. So that's one of the bad things about winning. One of the good things about winning is if you're a really good person and you're smart, you'll get the heck out of there. You'll hightail it, and you'll use your money for some wise things. You'll support others in some good way, your family, friends, maybe a charity like this one, if that makes sense. But what happens to us? We're dead. We get rewired. You get rewired in your mind, and you lose control. You turn into a different person in the casino. Most people, I know I did, So are there cons? Are there pros and cons? There are professional gamblers out there that live off it, live off of. I don't know about slot machines. I don't know if there's professional people that live off slot machines. There might be. It's not that they're beating the machines. I don't think that they can outsmart the software. Personally, I think that they're just at the right place at the right time. And they're just, maybe they're figuring it out. You know, energy is really funny. And maybe Jim can say, maybe he's experienced this, but when you get around, you can get around a certain part of the world. You can walk into an environment. You can walk into a home. You can walk into somebody's business and somebody's office, and you can pick up energy. You can pick up energy. What I'm going to ask you, what type of energy do you want to pick up in your life? What kind of energy you want to pick up? So all of these things, again, what vision are you? What is your channel? What channel are you on? You know, are you on somebody else's channel and you're watching and you're basically building their channel? You're paying their bills. When you spend a lot of money, $5,000-$10,000 a month, you're paying somebody else's bills, man. You're building somebody else's dream. You can't build yours. So what do you got to do? You got to get the remote. Maybe Jim has a remote he can lend you. I got a couple of them. They're for sale. Click, click, click. You must change your channel. And again, I'm going to ask you, Laura. I'm not here to tell you what to do because you're old enough to know what you need to do. But you're a truck driver, so you got to be really, really careful while you're out there. What was I going to ask you? You got to know whether this is something that you truly want to break away from, I guess. Right? Are you dedicated to living a life of what I call permanent no gambling zone? Or are you just going to dabble with it here and there? You know, you'll dabble with it here and there. Who knows where that will go? My recommendation is to live without. Do without the winnings. Do without the short-term joy that's going to feed you and lead you in the wrong direction. But again, that's just my opinion. It's my take. Everybody else, to each their own. Whatever you want to do, you're going to do. That's why I said earlier, folks that don't want to really stop, it's hard for them to hang out here. So if you're hanging out here, it probably says something a lot about you. That's a point of interest. That's a POI. For who? For you. At least you're finding out what you truly want, or maybe what you think you want. But I'm glad you're here, though, Laura. That's for sure. I'm glad you're here because you're part of this community. You support this community. So we all have those good nights. Nobody wants to see. There's going to be players that walk by the urge. You get taken over by the urge, the scourge, the plurge, or the spurge, or the splurge. What is it? Splurge. Anyways, I'm getting out of hand there. I better shut up. Let's get back into this video. We got a few minutes left. We're probably not gonna watch the rest of this. I got a little rap video for Mark, since Mark likes my little rhyme. It's not rap. I'm not a rapper. Rhyme video. I rhyme. Okay, I think it's a pretty good one. So stay to the end, and then we have a call to action here. What is my call to action today? I gotta find it. Bind it, not grind it. Okay. And it says, thank you. I appreciate that. By the way, if you like what's going on here, share this if you can. Share it, like it. You know, the more that we work together, we can help other people. It's not about us. I'm already, man, I'm way there in that no gambling zone. I want to be able to pass this on to some people so that who knows how long we all have a year, 5 years, 10 years. We don't know. Do you want to live your life bleeding, kneeling, needing, not leading? Okay. Great advice, Laura says. Great advice. I really have to consider this advice. Choices. Remember last week's video, choices? I don't know if you guys remember that. POIs. I can tell you, if you're not paying attention, you're going to miss those POIs. And then you can't say, Santos, you didn't tell. I did. Remember, Jim said this earlier. Your good life is going to come out of a good series of good, constant positive reminders. So I'm here to remind you. I'm like you, like your grandpa or your grandma. I better be careful with that one. NGZ, that's right. Permanent. Put the P in front there. You got to have the P. Permanent, no gambling zone. How many times was I up? Okay, let's get back into the program. If you have a question you want to ask, please. Time is going by fast. We've got a little rhyme video coming up. I believe you're going to like it. And
when someone offered us a good price for a house, we took it. I put the equity of the sale of our house,
how sad,
£170,000, into my own account. 6 weeks later, we were in a rented property where I lived. I was in the office I used, and I could see Emma coming up the lane. She had a spring in her step. She was really happy about something. She got to the window and called up. She said, Justyn, I found it. I found the perfect house. Come on, come with me. And we saw a beautiful house that just come onto the market. That would have been perfect. A place where Emma thought she could have got me back. A place where her children would be safe, because by now little Oscar had been born as well. And then I remembered. And I desperately looked for a way out. There was a little pond in the corner. And I said to Emma, we can't live here. Matthew might fall in and drown. That lovely smile on her face. You see, I'd squandered the equity from our property. There's no way I could afford the deposit. In fact, there's no way I would have been given a mortgage, because by now, to cover up the gap, I desperately tried to borrow. You see, I thought that I got myself into this mess. I'm the one that needs to get myself out of it. And I thought that I'd just keep gambling, and that'll be the way through it. My own stupid pride stopped me from getting any help. And because I kept it a secret, and the problem with gambling addiction is you can keep it a secret. There's no visible signs. Apart from my mood swings,
$2,000.
Things just got worse. It came to a head when one day I lost my job because I used my corporate card on my gambling account. I should have gone home and told Emma everything, but I didn't.
Please pay attention.
If you're a contractor and you're driving around in your truck all day doing estimates,
I told her I'd left that job and gone to another one. You know, the lies that I told my wife were one of the most hurtful things, because that trust we had was so fragile. It was so precious.
Trust.
And she found out because we had friends to stay, and they showed her a bank statement and said, do you know what your husband's doing? Even my lovely son, Matthew, one day, he just wanted me to take him to the swings. He said, Dad, please take me to the swings. And the day that he walked, by the way, was the happiest day of our lives. And now he just wanted to spend some time with his dad. We were down at my in-laws' house. It was raining. So Emma said to me, okay, take him, but go home first and pick up his coat. So I drove back home and I put my hand on his coat. Matthew was asleep in the front seat, strapped in. And I remembered that night, I put a bet on. I thought I'd just go and check. And I went upstairs and I'd lost that bet. So I went to the most horrible place you end up when you're a gambling addict. I went to the online casino. I thought I'll just have one quick spin, win that money back that I should have had in my account, and then I can go and have a good time with my son. 2.5 hours later, I'd emptied out my bank account again. I went downstairs and Matthew had cried himself to sleep, and the tears that he'd cried were dried on his cheeks. What kind of a dad does that? Only one who by now is in real problems. When Emma found out, I self-excluded myself. But there's 2,500 online gambling sites you could log into. And I got an email from another one a few weeks later to say, a £50 free bet is yours if you sign up with us. I thought, a free bet's okay. That's not really gambling. And I was right back into the way I was before. This time Emma could see. One morning I woke up and the house was quiet. She'd left and she'd taken the children with her. And do you know what? She was right to leave, because I was self-destructing. And rather than go after her and plead with her to come back and tell her it will be okay, I just got angry. I sold my wedding band with a lovely verse on the inside that only we knew. I sold the Breitling watch she gave me 1 year for an anniversary. And then I took the Queen's Sword of Honor, the most precious thing I owned, and I sold it. When I'd spent the £200 in cash that I'd sold it for, and by the way, I cried when I left that shop. The next morning, I woke up and I came to my senses. I phoned up the shop and said, I've made a terrible mistake. I need to get my sword back. They said, we've just sold it. There's no record of who we sold it to. They were dark times. There were times when I think I would have taken one of two paths, either my own life or committed a serious crime. Instead, my mum came up, my brother. They knocked on the door. They'd driven all the way up from here, from Kent. I grew up down here. They said, you're about to be evicted. You can walk the streets, or you can come back to Kent and try and find some recovery. So I walked around the house with a plastic bin liner. I put my last possessions together, some clothes, some pictures. I said goodbye to my boys. They weren't there, but the rooms where their beds were still unmade from the day they'd left. I was completely broken, totally humiliated. But I needed to be. And with my pride broken, things got better. That night, I went back to the room I'd left, 43 years old. And I'd left that room when I was 18, about to go out into the world and make my fortune. And now I had £73,000 worth of debt and a black bin liner of stuff. So I got down on my knees and I prayed. I just said, God, I'm sorry. Heal me if you can. That day was a day in November 2012. It's the last day I've ever gambled. I don't take that lightly. Every single day I take one day at a time, and I protect what I do. It was difficult at first because I had no self-esteem. I was a really just broken person. I began to swim, and I swam across the channel 2 years ago to raise money for my son's charity, Hemi Help. The boys came back. In fact, it was an amazing year, 2014. My family came back. I wrote a book, a bestseller on Amazon on gambling addiction.
Bring tears to your eyes.
I started a charity called Recovery 2 because I wanted to help other people. And now this charity offers recovery courses, 15-session courses completely for free. And since November last year, 27 new courses have sprung up and down the country. I've got a great job now too, apart from writing textbooks, which actually helped me to pay all my debt back. And when I paid my last penny of debt back, I volunteered for the debt charity that helped me get out of debt. And I see people every month now. And that means a lot to me that I can help. I can give something back. For 3 years, I was so selfish. I lived for me. And that's all I did. I pushed everyone away. And even the people I loved, and I did love them, I pushed them away. I'd love to say that we were a family again, even now. But that trust I talked about that was so fragile, it was lost. We got divorced this year, but Emma is one of my best friends, and spending time with my boys now is what matters to me. Even that sword of honor came back. After 3 years of being away, someone found it online. Life is better now. Life is better with my priorities in the right order.
We're back.
Life is better when I don't gamble. I had to take that newspaper and sit down with my 12-year-old son, my eldest son, when he was 12, on the day it came out. I got him to read the article, and then I said to him everything that I'd done. He looked me in the eyes, and he said, Dad, you've mucked up. Don't do it again. I don't intend to. Thank you very much.
Justyn Rees. $750,000, lost his family. Wow. Anyhow, this has been let me get rid of this real quick here. Remove. Hopefully, I know I'm kind of putting Jim through some torture here for 45 minutes, but there's some good lessons. There's some really good lessons in there. I thought about this earlier today when or yesterday when I was preparing this episode, I thought, there's a couple of individuals that I've listened to in the past that really helped me get some perspective. And when I listened to this Army guy, I thought, wow, even big Army officers can come down. So again, depending on your situation and where you're at, you may not be losing much. But if you're losing, you're losing. Now, if you're the type of person that that you're drowning and you're just barely making it, I'm glad you're here. You must make a change, or else you're going to go to the bottom, just like that submarine that, I don't know, they found it. You're going to go to the bottom and you're going to think. So I really appreciate Justyn, the guy that was on TED Talk. And of course, I appreciate all of you guys. And Jim, we're going to be ending the broadcast. I want to give Jim a chance to share his thought or his final words. Let me see. We're working on something like this. How many times I was up? I'd buy a no gambling zone shirt. Well, I know we've designed a few things and we've done so. We've got something in the works. We'll be putting that on the Soldiers of Self Mastery website. Yeah, Hugo sends some broken hearts. Yeah, it's a. Laura says you're here. So go ahead, Jim. You want something you want to share? I know you were earlier before the broadcast, or not before the broadcast, before that video you were sharing.
Yeah, this video of Jason, it makes me think about how we can be blinded by our own ideas and reasoning. I mean, like for me, I worked a lot, early in my life, and I thought if I can just work some more, things will be better. Let me go and get a second job. Let me get a third job. Let me work over the weekends. Let me come in early, you know. And it's like, this is the right thing. Working is right. Working is right. Work hard, Then I realized that, it's like, wow, you know, um, you're giving up your family. You're spending so much time, on what you think is right. You're totally missing out on things that are really important. But I got so blinded, right? I mean, I think like Ebenezer Scrooge, right? You think about in Christmas Carol, money was the only thing, that's the only thing. That's the only thing. I got to focus on that. I got to focus on that. But, time passes, and I was listening to something, two things that are important in life: memories and relationships, right? And you have to think about, the things that we're doing right now over and over and over again that we think are right. What kind of memories are we creating, and what kind of relationships are we creating? If we keep going down this path, and it's like, wow, this guy Justyn, his mind was programmed. I just need to control. I just need to control the situation. If I can just get that bet done and win that bet, everything will be all right. I'm not going to tell my wife. I'm not going to tell anyone else, because I'm in control. I'm going to control this. This is the only way it can be done, right? This is the only way I can go and solve my problems, right? My way.
Pride.
Yeah. And that, that fear, the pride, of not being in control, right? And reaching out for help. It's amazing if you can see, from your situation from a different perspective. You say, oh man, I'm moving down the wrong path. It's like, how do I get out of here? And it's like a lot of people, it's we feel like a loser if we have to ask for help, right? I'm an adult. I'm a man. I don't need any help. I don't need to ask for directions, right? I don't need to hire a plumber. I can do it myself.
Yeah.
Um, But
And sometimes you can, but most of the time, if we're drowning, like you're saying, like he had many opportunities. If you notice, right, like you're saying throughout the story, he wanted to keep everything in control, but the problem was that he was losing control. He had POIs. He had points of interest that he could have stopped and said, "Wait a minute, this is enough right here. I'm going to turn away from this. I'm going to get help." I mean, he had those POIs like we all do, and we bypassed them, and he ended up paying the price. Ultimately, I mean, he did gain some of it back, but he had a little bit of a tragic ending. Yeah. So we've come to the end of the broadcast here. I didn't see that many questions asked. I appreciate all the support. Those of you that are here, I truly hope that you're here for the right reasons, for yourself, not for me. I'm doing super fantastic, terrific, and over the top in spite of and because of. I believe Jim's doing the same. So we're here for you. We want to support you. This mission. If you want to get support, you want to end this thing in your life. You want to stop this merry-go-round, this nightmare of a lie, deadly French fry. You're welcome to be a part of this. Welcome to come back. We'll be here on Sunday. We may be here on Tuesday. We're not getting enough feedback. Thursday, we may be here on Thursday. I'm not getting enough feedback. And folks, I don't know who's watching, but if what you're doing isn't working, if what you're doing, and I'm doing my call to action here before I do my little rap video. If what you're doing isn't working, I'm going to ask you something. Have you ever paid for education in your life? Have you ever paid for some education in your life? And hopefully that experience went well. Coaching is very similar, except that you're going to have somebody by your side that's going to help you during the week. You're going to have a line of communication, direct communication. You're going to have an accountability partner. You're going to have somebody that you can read in your moment of desperation. You're going to have coaching, a strategy session. We're going to work on your goal. We're going to work on your channel. If you can't change your channel, you need a remote. You need a spark. Like that fire that's lying dormant. Right? In fact, it's out. Your fire's out. You might as well be honest with yourself, right? Your fire's out. You need a spark. This could be your spark. I could be your spark. I could be a coach. I could be a partner to you. And I'm not, I was telling Jim, I'm only, at this point, I'm working on definitely helping 4 or 5 people a month. That's it. Once that locks in, I'm not accepting no more partners to help them over the next 3 months. Clear the hurdle, get over that mountain, save money, make money, generate more money, and have a winning attitude mindset. That's what I'm about as a coach. If you're out there and you're looking for something like this, I'm going to tell you to connect with me ASAP. If this doesn't apply to you, then you're just going to keep on trucking, my friend. And there's no more I can say. But here's my little wrap. And again, Soldiers of Self-Mastery, right there below. You can see it. I think it says if you're ready to lift off. Is it? Are you ready to lift off? Because that's kind of like what's happening here. You better strap in, put your seatbelt on, and you're getting ready to lift off. Where are we going? I don't know. Where do you want to go? All right, let me see if I can do this little wrap. Stop that one. Present, share screen. No laughing, by the way. No laughing at my little, let me see if I can do this. How's it look? How's it look on StreamYard? There we go. Well, it's not that big, but I think we can play it. Oh boy, this is horrible. I'm going to do it anyways. When you try, you will find a designated grind. Due time, no crime. No cards, no slots. Kill the bots. Craps, you slaps into the traps. Money lost, teeth flaws, cause you don't care. You only stare, cause you dare. A despair, It's not fair. The casino gives you an eclair. That's their share. Donut? Do you care? You lose your hair. The addiction is like a sprayer, a layer, a wall that's bare. So don't and you won't fire it and start a prayer. I challenge you. Don't just stand there. Coach Santos here. All right.
Nice.
That's it. Now,
You can battle Eminem. You can battle Eminem with Santos.
I like to rhyme.
Meanwhile,
I do some rhymes on TikTok. I do a few rhymes. It's not considered rap. It's just has a little bit of beat. And I'll do probably a rhyme every once in a while here just to break up the monotony. So that's all we have. We went over an hour, folks. I hope, listen, if you're, like I said, if you're drowning, you've got a place, you can reach out, right? You can, there's no excuse. If you need somebody by your side to totally support you, I don't know, maybe Jim, I know Jim's kind of working on himself. Who knows if he might decide to be a coach and take on a client or two during the month and support you. We're all trying to make a living. Uh, so if you pay me 200 and I help you earn or save 5,000, is that a good? Is that a good? Is that a good? What is it? Is that a good barter? Is that a good barter? Right? If I helped you save or make 2,000 or 3,000 and you paid me 300, is that a good barter? It's uneven. It's a little uneven, right? But I think it's a pretty good barter if indeed you get what you want and you save that money. So yeah, I don't have anything else. Let me see, Michelle. Michelle, welcome, Michelle. I don't know if you're still here. Does anyone gamble to get rid of anxiety? Well, that's if you're gambling to get rid of anxiety, you can easily find something else to replace it, unless you're addicted. Right? What do you say, Jim? Before we go, we'll answer this question, I guess.
yeah, well, I mean,
Oh,
anxiety is tough. I mean, that's just, you just feel awful. Your nervous system is all breaking down. You're worrying, right? It's not a pleasant place. So we try to cope, you know, all that negative self talk. Where do you run to? Some people run to God. Philippians, what, 6-7 or 4 or something like that. I don't know. Uh, don't be anxious.
4. That's Philippians chapter 4.
Yeah. Uh huh.
Be anxious
Right.
in everything. No, is that be careful in prayer? Anyways, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's basically where what you're focusing on, right? You can focus on the casino. You can focus on the drugs. You can focus on the food. You can focus on the work to get rid of your anxiety. Yeah, sure. You can focus on weightlifting. And running too. What is it going to give you? I mean, it's you think about the consequences. There's good places to go when you're dealing with anxiety, and there's bad things, long-term bad consequences. um yeah, I mean, we run to the stuff that gives us the most relief, right? When you're in pain, man, you don't want that pain. When I have that stomach ache, I don't want that stomach ache. I'm going to do whatever it takes to stop that cramp, that stomach ache, whatever. And I was thinking
Sometimes,
about this. I mean, is physical pain and emotional pain. I mean, is one regarded more important than the other? And I mean, what if emotional pain is so awful? It can lead you to take drastic measures, right? Just like if you're physically injured or in pain, you do whatever it takes to get rid of that pain. So, I mean, we got to be very careful about how we treat our anxiety, our pains.
yeah, wow, yeah, because you're treating one anxiety with another.
Hmm.
That's going to make it worse. Obviously, I mean, gambling, folks. sometimes we're just, I hate to say it, sometimes we're just fucked up in the head. Pardon my language, but it's the truth. And what Jim just said, if we're not careful, we're just adding. You're adding to that. How do you know you're not adding to it, right? I believe that's what he was speaking of. How do you know you're not adding to the situation becoming worse? Yeah.
And that's why you come over here for the tools, right? Self-talk, right? What are we saying to ourselves? What are we focusing on? What are we talking? How are we talking to ourselves, right? All these little mind hacks, all these tools, all these strategies, right? We want to just learn them, right? And use them over and over and over again. So when that anxiety hits, right? It's like, okay, it's coming on, I can handle this. What am I going to do? Right.
Exactly.
Right. You can talk to yourself. I'm not going to accept this. I'm not accepting this feeling. Take it away and bring me back something else that I will accept.
Even just verbally saying that, what you just said right now, we don't realize this, we don't think about this, right? What you just said, even just verbally saying that to yourself. I've got this new acronym. It's TSL, right? SO, Soldiers of Self Mastery. SOS, was it Soldiers of Self Mastery? SOSM. Think, speak, live. TSL. Think, speak, live. Thinking, speaking, living. And you need to be concerned on the other side, whoever you are, you need to be concerned about your TSL. So, with that said, I'm done. I can keep preaching here for another hour. I don't think the audience is going to grow any bigger. There's no more questions. Um, uh, how does anyone, okay, how does anyone gamble get rid of anxiety? Well, one good place is to come here. I believe either we're going to cause anxiety, we're either going to cause anxiety here, good anxiety. I mean, is there such thing as good anxiety? I think there is. This is a great place to come here. Either we're going to take it away or we're going to stir it up. We'll stir up the good stuff. We'll take away the bad stuff. So hopefully that helps, Michelle. Good to see you here. I don't know if you've ever been here before. If you haven't, by the way, Soldier Scribe, make sure that you turn on your notifications. We're going to be here Sunday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We'll try to be here Tuesday, 7 p.m. Tuesday, we'll try to be here. If no one shows up, we shut the program down within 5 minutes. Tuesday's not a promise. Thursday's more of an availability. Again, if I see some in the audience, if people want solutions, we'll stay here for the 45 minutes. If not, I'll see you on Sunday. Another program. Hugo. Okay, last one, Hugo. Make sure to watch and join in. It's hard to go on gambling. Yeah. Oh, you've been here before. Okay, well, thank you for returning, Michelle. All right, to the rest of you guys, Michelle, Laura, Hugo, out of time, Mark. Who's the other one? Mark, Jim, and Blaze Journey. And to the rest of you guys, bunch of chicken? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just joking. You didn't show up on the text or on the screen, but I'm just calling you out, challenging you. Get rid of that chicken. Anyways, that's all I have. Thanks for hanging out, Jim, all the way from Tucson. And anything else you want to say quickly, Jim, there?
Yeah, just, start planning for a great week, Start planning for a great week. Take action.
Mm-hmm. Change your channel, right?
Right. And get those routines, reflect on your routines and start making better routines.
Yeah. Even if it's just exercising, a walk, even if it's just a walk, right? I'm not talking about Panda Express where they have the walk there, right? They frying food. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about a walk in the park. You go for a walk, 5-10 minute walk. All right, guys. Until next time, or else we'll start preaching again and we'll bore everybody to death. We'll see you at the top on the inside on the next one. Thanks, Jim.
Thanks, Santos. Have a great week. Take care.
Bye-bye.